Michael Shermer.
Oh, here we go with another cameo of cameo clown show. So Michael Shermer is, of course, definitely philosophically illiterate. I would classify him as a pathological skeptic. Not a skeptic in the David Hume sense, in the sense of a, let's call him an establishment pathological skeptic, because the kind of skepticism that Michael Shermer will promote is literally skepticism on anything contrary to what the most establishment perspectives are. And that's how you know that this isn't really skepticism, okay? And I can't prove it, but I have my suspicion that there's this kind of network of the prominent skeptics is some kind of probably intelligence connected thing. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But I think that's what's going on here. This is some kind of operation, and I don't say that without any evidence. I can't prove it, but definitely with these high-profile atheist skeptic people, there's, and again, this is not out of the bounds of possibility when we just look at what things like entities like the CIA have funded, right? Playboy, Miss Magazine, Feminism, all had high-level, deep CIA funding. That's all admitted and on record now. And so I would venture to bet that absolutely these atheist skeptic crowd people have probably high-level Royal Society, British intelligence. But I mean, half the people in this debate are from the Royal Society, so I don't think this is accidental. I mean, and remember, the Royal Society has foisted some of the worst worldviews, the most satanic level, right, worldview stuff on everybody for a few centuries now, right? So if you want to know the center of just evil worldview, right, it's directly from British Empire.
Where's that Rocky music?
Now, I think I do remember a Michael Shermer debate from a long time ago. I've not listened to anything that this guy did in probably 10 years, so I don't remember his shtick. I'm sure it's very Reddit tier, but let's see.
Morning. As Thomas Huxley said, Richard, the good Lord has delivered them into our hands.
Let's remember, by the way, that this was a very weak opening performance by William Lane Craig that basically just amounted to the burden of proof is on you, buy my book. I mean, that was pitiful. I'm sorry, Dr. Craig, but that was pitiful.
I am the publisher of this magazine, Skeptic Magazine. By chance, and that's all it is, our latest issue is on the pseudoscience and nonsense of the whole happiness purpose movement. That is, once you believe that the universe somehow has a design purpose for us and us alone, that I can have anything I want, all I have to do is wish it, pray for it, ask for it.
Alls I have to do? Alls I have to do? Like, is he on the playground at recess? Alls I have to do? Like, what?
And it will appear, the Mercedes in my driveway, the healing of my aunt's cancer, or miracles to appear.
Now, wait a minute. So, here we go. So he's conflated the idea of purpose in the universe with a bunch of bad examples of people who believe that purpose means that they can magically have whatever they want, right? So, purpose in the universe equals Norman Vincent Peale or The Secret, right? If you believe that there's purpose in the universe, you're literally the equivalent of Oprah and The Secret, right? Like, I just want the Mercedes and it appears. That's not an argument. I mean, that's not even approaching an argument. To what would this be? It's not a genetic fallacy. It's just fallacy of association. I mean, so what? Like, if if every person in the world erroneously believed in purpose as something like in The Secret or Oprah, that still wouldn't disprove the notion of telos, because that's not an argument, you see. This is the fallacy, right? What's the fallacy? The fallacy says that if something is badly argued, then it's therefore disproven or false. No, it's not. The argument is bad, but that doesn't mean that what is being argued is necessarily false or not the case, right? This is well known, and I'm not making this up. It's called the fallacy, right? Because something is badly argued, it is therefore false. That'd be like me saying, well, I know that 2 plus 2 is 4 because I had a dream that 2 plus 2 is 4. No, that's the fallacy, or that's a bad reason for believing that 2 plus 2 is 4. Does that mean that because I gave a bad reason that 2 plus 2 isn't 4? No, obviously. So there you go. I think this is the fallacy.
Upon my wish. That's just pure nonsense. There is not a shred of evidence that any of this is actually true. It's wishful thinking.
Again, if I was there, I'd be like, don't you believe in logic? So you just did the fallacy, right? So you just equated purpose with people that make bad arguments or have erroneous views of purpose.
And that's the problem of thinking that the universe has some design just for us.
No,
however, I'm a scientist. I'm willing to look at new data, some evidence. So here's an example, guys. If you could have God grow some new limbs of amputees of soldiers in the Iraq War, Christian soldiers with Christian families praying for them to be healed, I would seriously consider that and changing my mind. So far, this has not happened, not even once.
Well, my response to this is, first of all, this comes up in Jesus' ministry, right? So there's a point where the Pharisees say, if you are who you say you are, then do what we say, and then we'll believe in you. If you do the miracles that we come up with, maybe float around or something, right? And Jesus says, no, actually, you won't believe, right? And then he gives the story of Abraham's bosom, right? And so the guy dies and he goes to Abraham's bosom and he says, Lord, I'm here in this horrible place. Let me go back and tell my brethren about, the afterlife, because then they'll believe. And what does Jesus say? Does he say, oh, yes, if we could just present enough evidence of resurrections, if we could just pile up enough evidentiary proofs, evidentiary data, then maybe they'll believe. No, Jesus says, if they don't believe Moses and the prophets, neither will they believe if someone rise from the dead. And this is to illustrate the point that your paradigm and the basic presuppositions that you have are going to interpret the data. And so if you don't believe that anything like a resurrection is possible, then every piece of evidence or argument that comes along talking about or trying to demonstrate resurrection is going to be cast aside and reinterpreted, right? Because your presuppositions haven't been challenged, right? That's why this kind of evidentiary argumentation doesn't work. I'm not saying that we don't give evidences. There's plenty of places and times in your apologetic when, you give evidences. Sure, evidences absolutely have a place. They're crucial. They're necessary. For one, because Christianity is a historical religion. It's not a religion that's purely abstract, that's, comes out of nowhere. So you do have to use evidences depending upon the subject matter at hand. And I'm not even saying that things that point to the resurrection are always wrong. The Bible itself is an evidentiary argument for the resurrection because of the predictions, okay? Because of the predictions of who Jesus would be. And therefore, if he is the Messiah, then he's telling the truth, right? Because there's all these predictions that predict his birth, his life, his death, his ministry, etc. And so the Bible is one of the most powerful evidences. And that's Jesus' point in that story, is to say that if you want proof, go read all the prophecies. They prove it.
Apparently, God can't even do what amphibians can do in growing new limbs. If there's a purpose, surely we would see at least one sign like this, and yet we have zero.
Well, actually, there are many accounts of miracles, right? Now, in the world of Orthodoxy, right, there's accounts and stories of miracles all the time. But do you think that Michael Shermer is going to believe or accept any of those? Well, of course not. Right? Any piece of evidence or story or account that came to him would just be reinterpreted, right, to fit well, they were just superstitious, it's not a miracle, it didn't actually happen, blah, 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 blah. And that's, again, because our presuppositions as to what is possible will determine the way that we interpret the evidence.